Hey peeps, welcome back to another video. So, for this one we're going to be talking about my wagon. So most of you that know me already know of a car. It's been around for a few years now. Do all sorts with it, go to shows. But I figured I'd just do a bit of an introduction with it. You might have seen it on the channel before, lurking in the background and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought I'd talk about the car, show you a few driving clips. It's actually here today, so we've got to do a sump gasket on it in preparation for going to Castle Combe next week, because the gasket's leaking pretty bad. So we've got that to do and some different brakes and stuff to put on it. I'm not sure I'll put that in this video. The sump gasket isn't particularly exciting, but the brake upgrade I might do a video on that later in the week. But yeah, that's the car. So factory 328 manual touring. Original colour is Avis blue. Obviously I wrapped it yellow. It's been wrapped now for about 4.5 years, and I don't take a lot of care with it, as you can probably tell. It's pretty grubby. Use and abuse, that's what all my toys are, you know. Maintain them but use and abuse. So yeah, there she is. Mod wise, there's quite an exhaustive list. So factory 328 manual, so it's on its original engine, I believe. I don't have any paperwork to prove. The clocks say it's done 224,000 miles. I assume it's its original engine. I bought it 8 years ago with 198k on. So in that time it's done 26,000 miles. I've not changed the engine that time. The gearbox was original, I believe, until I changed it last weekend when I did a new flywheel and clutch setup on it. My original gearbox, the detent pins are worn, and I had a good box there, so I just swapped it over. Obviously factory open diff on these. I don't think I've ever seen a Touring with a factory spec LSD, or not many. It's not common anyway. So it's got an LSD fitted, an OEM BMW unit. In terms of like throughout the car, start at the back. So the rear end I overhauled a couple of years ago, Powerflex bushes and a 315 medium case LSD, which is a straight bolt in. But everything else on the back end, suspension wise, is pretty stock. The camber arms are some Powerflex lower arms, so they've been swapped in to give you full camber adjustment. Obviously the coilovers all round. I've got a set of BC Racing BR series coilovers. So that's the rear end. Exhaust wise, standard exhaust manifold, standard midsection with the OEM cats, and then a Remus rear back box, which is pretty cool. It needs a bit of a tweak on the hanger because it seems to have moved recently. But yeah, that's the back box there. So that sounds pretty gnarly under load. If you didn't know, Remus actually made the back boxes for AC Schnitzer, I believe. So they sound very similar and they look identical, so I'm pretty certain they made them for AC Schnitzer. That's the rear suspension. And then as we move forward, gearbox wise, we've got a few trick mods. It's a standard ZF gearbox, but we've got a Z3M factory short shifter, so a nice short throw. All the bushes and everything on the gearbox are all built up. The Powerflex gearbox mounts, so they're nice. And then in terms of the engine itself, I'll show you the engine bay. It's probably filthy, but if you've watched my 328 performance mods video, you'll know kind of what's in it already. So engine mod wise, it's all pretty standard, to be honest, besides the spicy S52 cams, the M50 inlet manifold, and then just the traction control body delete. Loop the coolant lines from the throttle body, so there's no coolant going into there. And the crankcase ventilation is gone, so this just vents to atmosphere. Standard airbox, standard panel filter. And yeah, that's engine wise. So engine makes tons of power, a real nice strong engine. If you've ever driven out with me or been out with a car, you'll know it's got plenty of power despite the mileage. It's certainly no slouch. Strut brace, I do have a rear strut brace, but I never fitted it because I like the fact that the Touring is a Touring. It's got a full interior, still fill it up with shit when you need to. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Wheel fitment, they are BBS RC 042s all round, so they're basically the factory 328 Sport wheels, but rather than having a staggered setup, these are all rears, including the fronts. The main reason for that is it's predominantly gets driven hard, and it gets driven hard on track. and obviously the extra bit of front tyre gives you a bit more front end grip. So yeah, that's that. So still got the centre caps, which are a bit of a flex these days. They're quite hard to find, the caps and the waffles or whatever they're called. Interior. So this interior, I believe, it's had a bit of work by me. It's not mint, it needs more work. But originally this car was spec'd with a blue and black half leather, which is pretty cool. Like blue cloth, black leather. It was cool, but it was really worn. So eventually, after a few years of ownership, I managed to swap this interior, not the front seats, but the full interior, this colour, saffron yellow it's called. I managed to swap that with a guy who wanted my old interior. So I was chuffed a bit because I love the saffron, and the door cards are cool as hell. Then the front seats were pretty shagged, and they were SE spec, so they looked shit. They didn't support you, and they were really worn. After probably another 2 or 3 years, I managed to find a pair of sports seats for the front. So these seats came out of a convertible, which is why they've got the tilt function on the seat, which is pointless in a touring. You don't need it, but you know, what the hell, I guess it's useful for something. Good for cleaning the carpets. And then once I got the convertible interior, this seat, I mean, this seat is well used, it's weathered, it really needs a good treatment and restoration. But the bolster here and here was shot. You can kind of tell, if you look at that top corner, that wasn't replaced. You can kind of imagine how bad it was down here. So I used the rear bench from the convertible to repair this, and this, so the colour matched. It's not perfect. The seat, like I say, really wants a proper going over. That's something I need to do at some point, but I just like to use the car. Really, I'm just lazy. But yeah, super cool interior. I, to my knowledge, have never seen another Touring with a saffron interior. Is it a flex? Not really, because it's a pretty gnarly, ugly looking interior to most people's opinion, but I love it. I was always fascinated by the door cards. I love the sort of saffron colour against the black, thought it looked pretty cool. Factory M-Tech wheel from an early 36. I love them. My only gripe is because I'm quite tall. Let me show you. When you're sat in the car, my arms are quite far away from the wheel, so I could do with a spacer just to bring the wheel out a bit further. But yeah, it's a cool wheel, it's a cool place to be. Yeah, I love it. So with this car, I've had this for I think 8 or 9 years now. I'll have to check, I can't remember what year I bought it. I think it was 2016, so it'll be coming up for 8 years. And I'll be honest, if I didn't buy this car, I probably wouldn't do what I do now with my business. I wouldn't have had the obsession I've got with these cars. And yeah, it all sort of started with this car. So if you know me, you know I use this car, you know, pretty aggressively. It gets used on track days, go to shows. 2 weeks ago we was at Goodwood smashing around that retro ride show. Last weekend went to Thruxton, was smashed it around at Thruxton, and then next week we're going to Castle Combe. So the car gets used at every opportunity. I don't use it a great deal through winter, mainly just because our roads are so bad in the UK, just to try and preserve the underside. Obviously if you use it through winter, there's rain, salt, crap, mud everywhere. But yeah, so that's the car. Most of you, I'm sure, or a lot of you watch the channel will have seen it or will know of it. But yeah, that's where it is at the moment. In terms of future plans, well, obviously I mentioned today I've got to do a sump gasket, no big deal. Next up is some big brakes, so we're going to put some big, we've got some 8-pot K-Sports to go on the front, and then on the rear we're going to chuck on some 320D E46 rears, 20mm bigger rear brake discs and some track pads. So yeah, we're going to try that first, and then the K-Sports will go on probably after Combe. But yeah, that's sort of where the car is. Beyond that, to be honest with you, it's just keep it maintained and keep up with it. The 2.8 has plenty of poke on track. It's not the fastest engine in the world on, like, for a road car, like, you know, on motorways and stuff like that. It's not got tons and tons of power, but from a track car point of view, it's perfect. It is bulletproof reliable, silky smooth, and really, like, even on track at Thruxton, which is flat third and fourth gear everywhere. I reset the trip computer and it said it was doing 13 mpg on track, so it's not even that expensive to run on a track day. I mean, like 100 quid's worth of fuel and you can do however many laps you want. It's taken me all over the country, been super reliable. Touch wood, I've never actually broke down in this car, so it's probably the most reliable car I've ever owned, and also it's one with the highest mileage and the one with the most amount of mods, and yeah, just epic car. So I'm not sure if we're going to do anything beyond that. All the time the trusty 2.8 is healthy, then I'm going to stick with the 2.8. It's beautifully simple, this engine, very little to go wrong with it. As long as the cooling system is healthy and happy, the rest is all good. But yeah, so that's sort of an overview of the car. If you've got any questions or pick my brains or any of the mods I've done or whatever, fire them away, because I'm always curious, see what people think. And also if anyone needs any help with, like, you know, building their car or not sure what choice to go with certain setups, you can ping a message below, and I'll more than happily assist. But yeah, there she is. So that's the wagon.